Hello, today I'll go through the meaning of the tarot cards. Now, this is good for anyone who is learning the cards, but sometimes also experienced readers just might want another take on things, what another reader thinks about the cards. So, if any of you would like to leave comments underneath, what your take is on certain cards as well, and share the information with each other. Okay, we'll go through the cards then. Um, so the first card, the Sun. Very, very nice card to see show up in a reading. Kind of tells us that everything is very bright, very happy, very sunny. So what we're kind of thinking, or the thought, what's going through your mind with this card. Now, if the reading isn't coming out where it's so happy or so positive, so if you've got the cards out for somebody, for a client, and it's looking quite negative, and the sun is there, it is a really nice card that kind of comes out and saves the day, and it puts it brightens the situation up. So then you can kind of think, whatever this situation is, um, it'll be okay because the sun's out to save it, or the sun's out to brighten things up. So there's potentially um, a change of atmosphere with this negative situation because the sun's come out. Okay, so I'm trying to emphasize really that this, when you see the sun there, it cheers everything up. Now, you can also look at the sun towards other situations as well. So if you've got travelling cards coming up, say, you might, and the sun is there with these other travelling cards to back up. So you would start to think about maybe a holiday then, or travelling somewhere. And with the sun there, you would start thinking that it was maybe a little bit further afield, not a local kind of holiday or a local journey. It might be a bit more long haul, say. If you see the sun with various other cards, with pregnancy, it never fails as well. And what you'd be looking for is the Empress, which is this card really in the Page of Cups, to be in the spread in the reading as well, close by. And the sun always brings out pregnancy when it's linked with those other two cards. Okay, so might as well look at the Empress next. Now, the Empress, nice card in the pack, very feminine card, and it always talks about motherhood. When I say always, except for, which I'll tell you about next. Now, what the Empress is doing, she's the mother, the maternal card in the pack. So if that card comes out in a reading, she can be symbolize your own mother. It could be a situation around your mother. It could be you yourself as a mother. So it can be sort of pointing at your life with your own children, or it can be a mother figure. Now, like I said before, that card will predict pregnancy only if it's backed up, if other cards are around. So there must be other cards in the come out in the spread. Now, I've also seen with this card as well. Now, when you think about a mother, when her children have grown up and they're independent now, they're adults, they're doing their own thing, then the mother can start to be interested in some of her own things and what she didn't get time for before. So that card as well can talk about maybe taking on new hobbies, or looking for new things really to be occupied with. And also with that card as well, it's often when the mother has gone through all the motherhood days, she could be then interested in maybe starting her own business, you know, or looking for her own job. So it can indicate a woman who is looking for money. She's out there, she's wanting material gains. But what you've got to do with that card is, again, like all of the cards, you've got to see what other cards are around and backing it up. And I will make another video um, of, you know, trying to explain how to link the cards together. Okay then, so this card, the Temperance card. Right now, not a bad card, this card, when you see it come out, because it talks about things pretty much on the surface. You know, everything is looking okay. And we see on this card, the Rider Waite, we see an angel on the front there. You know, everything's pretty okay there. Oh, under the surface, so there's undercurrents with this card. So what's kind of happening with that? Where we get that saying, oh, there's an elephant in the room, you know, there's something they won't discuss, or something that is a bit of a taboo subject to be mentioned. So that would explain what was the atmosphere, the environment, what's going on around that situation. Yeah, it's all okay, it's all okay, but is it really? So there's some undercurrents going on. There's other things in the background. What just let sleeping dogs lie, you know, it's getting left alone, or it's getting swept under the rug. You know, that saying, oh, just sweep it under the rug, bury your head in the sand. So it's that type of influence, this card. Okay, this one, the Hermit card. So the Hermit does show isolation, or it can show isolation, because not always. So sometimes, you know, people cutting themselves off, doing their own thing. You know, maybe that's what you could be doing, or someone around you is doing when you see this card. But there's a more important message to this card. Now, what someone is doing with that one is that analysing. So they're really thinking hard about something, and they're looking for what is the right path for me, or what is the right way to go with this. So you might see this card come out when people are considering, you know, maybe a fresh start in the life, you know, or they're thinking about, um, should I take this further, you know, with maybe a new partner I've met, or um, is this the path I want to go down studying? So it's all about analysing, really looking at a particular area in your life, and thinking, how am I going to move this forward? It's finding the right way to go in your mind, but, you know, it's thinking hard and giving it a lot of thought. Am I on the right track here? All right, next one then. So the Magician. Okay, I love this card, the Magician, because when you think about a magician, or what is a magician, it's almost like a circus act, isn't it? Or, you know, a magician on the television. Now, when you think about what a magician does, you know, he's an illusionist, isn't he? He's given people, well, illusions really, because he's pulling the rabbits out the hat, and he's making magic, and you know, he's working tricks on people, and people are enjoying it and they're falling for it. So when you see that card come out in your situation, the Magician is a lucky card. Things are going your way. So even if the situation is a negative, you know, or a tricky situation, as soon as you see that card come out, you know it's going to land your way, because the luck is landing with you. And you will be able to, you know, um, get your way out of things as well when you see that one, because that's what the Magician is doing. he's pulling the wool over people's eyes. So I always like seeing that card come up, because you kind of know, no matter what it is, how bad it is, it'll be okay, because you've got that one. Not only that, the ball's in your court, what you want to do about it, as well. So you've got the pull, like the power, with it as well. So think about something like, with this one. Maybe you've met someone new. Do you want to go any further with it? So maybe the Hermit, you'd be given the, the thinking whether you want that. And this Magician will be the backup. Well, it's up to you whether you want that. Like, the situation and the control really is going to lie with you. So it's a great card to come up. This one as well, the Fool. Okay, so the Fool is a nice card as well. So if you imagine with the Fool, when somebody starts something new, so they're on a new adventure, so maybe imagine the thought, what you've got when you're like maybe going on a holiday, or you're looking forward to something like that, and you're getting all your stuff ready for it, and that, it's taking over your mind, you're excited. So that's what it's like. It's like a buzz of excitement with that card. And it's someone on like a new adventure, feeling really light-hearted and a bit of a spring in your step, you're feeling good about things. Now, the thing why this card is the Fool, though, like, where's this word fool coming? What you've got to remember when that card comes up, so like I say, there is a buzz about it, but there's a naivety to it as well. So it's new adventures and new stuff, what you're doing, completely new. And something, because it's new, something that you're inexperienced about. And when you're inexperienced, you leave yourself up for being gullible. You can be ripped off, or you can be taken advantage of. So there's a hidden warning with that card. Don't be naive. And as well, because you're excited, and you're feeling great on this mission, what you're going on, or this, this walk, what you're doing, you head so much into that you can miss things, what's happening on the sidelines or in the background. So don't be naive, because someone could get you when you're least expecting it. Okay, the next card, the World. Now, I generally always see the World as a positive card. It's a lot around opportunities coming, and feeling a little bit on top of the world. Things are going your way for a change, and things are looking up. And seeing this card come kind of ahead, it's like you're walking towards these opportunities. So it is a nice card, the World. Now, you can kind of like aim this card, or bend this card towards particular things as well. So if you see travelling cards come up, so particularly the Sun, what we looked at before, that would be a backup card with the World, to talk about travel. And it could be a bit more long haul as well. You know, yeah, long distance, that type of thing. So it could be anywhere in the world if it's coming out with the Sun. But we can get a negative kind of thing, or energy from this card, really, because now and again I see this card, not often, but now and again, you see it come up when someone is going in a circle with something as well. So it can be one of them, where you'd be looking around at other cards that are around it, whether you see it in a negative or a positive sense. And like you say, 9 times out of 10, it generally is a positive meaning, because I think that's what the World is there for, to give us that positivity and let us know, all these opportunities are there. Okay then, so This one, the Hierophant. Now, this was a card what took me a long time, to learn. And it was only after years, really, of, of doing different readings and then seeing, it become obvious after a while what this card meant. But it is a tricky card, or one of the trickier cards to read in the pack, the Hierophant. But I have found with this card, without exception, every time I read this card, something is coming to an end. And it's almost as though, it's like as though it's a wake-up call with this, where you wake up and smell the coffee. And that's what I always think about that card. It's like I've woke up and smelled the coffee. And you want to move a situation on when this card shows up. So it's kind of like, just imagine if you, I don't know, it could be where you've had enough of maybe your marriage or a partner. It could be that you want to replace your car. It could be a friend around who you no longer want that friendship. It could be moving house. See, what you've got to do is put it around the other cards and see what it's coming up with. But that card is kind of telling you that you're at a stage now, like you're thinking, it's your frame of mind, and it's got to a stage where you're not happy and you're not settled. So you're either feeling these like pangs inside of discomfort where you're not happy with this anymore, or you're further along that where you're about to change things, because you've had this wake up call and, oh, that person's using me, or, they've taken advantage of me, or I don't want to do this anymore. So it's that kind of thing, the wake up call. Okay, the Chariot. Right, a nice card, the Chariot. And it's got a few meanings on it, so you can see that as a vehicle. You can see it like, depends on what it comes around. Again, it could be indicating, a new car, or money being spent on your car, or an MOT needs doing on the car. So it can relate to the vehicle like that. It can relate to actually travelling as well. But we, the sun and the world, are more long haul. I tend to think, or the experience I've had with this card, is that it's shorter. So it can be travelling, but it's not long haul. So it could be maybe a journey in the country where you live in, or a bit shorter, and maybe a place that you can drive to. Not necessarily though, like it could be a short journey even by train or by aeroplane, but it's doing something about a journey. So that's another meaning of it as well. But there's a bigger meaning behind this card. Now, you imagine those old films, those biblical films like Ben-Hur and Spartacus, and those type of films. The chariots, when they'd have those, in the arena, the amphitheatre, and they bring the chariots in and they're doing this racing. So it's a victory card as well. So the chariot that wins the race, getting the victory. And you see, the pictures on the card, and get a think or a feel thinking about this, these old days like this, these old civilizations. And it's almost as though, the person that won this, it was the biggest victory and success for them. So I tend to see that chariot as a situation that you're going to be successful in. But like you say, you can start narrowing it down to actually your life moving on. It's moving in a good direction, and you will get that success and victory in the future that you're looking for. Okay, this one, the Death card. Now, the Death card, people who are not really experienced with tarot, it's a card that they're afraid of, and yet it's a very positive card, this. So the death card is like opening a new chapter in your life. So you think if you're really, caught up in the middle of some book, and then you finish that chapter, and it's like a change in the weather, isn't it, when you start reading the next chapter? And this is what the death card is like. So it's transformation in your life. Now, what is going on with this one is that it's a permanent transformation. So the way that your life is after the influence of this death card, it's going to be completely different than it was before. Well, when I say your life, I'm going to say an element of your life. So it depends on what it's hitting in your life, So it can be talking about your working life, your family life, your relationship, etc. But it is showing that when this card passes through, something about that particular area will be completely different than it was before. Now, you've got to then go with the cards around, why, what is the difference? If it's negative cards with the death card, you're still going to get that change, but it's kind of telling you that it's not an easy change of the cards. So, if you've got soul cards or tricky cards, if it's, sometimes it can be a forced change as well. Now, if you've got very bright and happy cards around it, this is a change. What is the best thing that could have been, and it's going to change things all for the better. Now, does this card relate to death? Some of you are probably thinking it can do, but it's got to come out with particular cards right next to each other. I'm being honest as well. I've seen death come out in my cards and in readings for people. So when I say I have predicted death, I can see death, in the cards occasionally, and it's only ever when the death card, the devil card, and the tower card, they all come side by side. So it's not easy. The probability is not easy to get those all next to each other. Then you would start getting other cards, out of the minor cards. What look at health and hospital. So it can predict death, but it's not very common that you see it. But really speaking, my experience with the death card is very positive, and it's usually change that ends up a really good thing, even if it's not wanted, or was someone was worried about this big change coming. It's usually a positive transformation. Okay, this card, the Hangman, I find it a frustrating card. This card, my experience with the Hangman is that a situation isn't moving, and it always gives frustration. So you kind of imagine something that is hanging, it's completely still, isn't it? It's not moving anywhere. And this is what my experience with this card is. You want something to happen. You may be looking for a job and you can't wait to get out there, but you're not finding anything. It's the Hangman. It's telling you that that situation is not going to move. And always as well, there's always a frustration by it. Like, I've never really seen this card come out where anyone's happy, really. They're really kind of like, they want something to come off very much, and this just slows it down. And it doesn't change that situation as well until that card passes out of someone's spreads. So I find it a bit of an annoying card, that one. So the Judgment card. Now this one is an important decision to make, a major decision. So, you know, you're kind of manning this big decision, but could have impacts. So you're looking if I do that or if I do that, and it's going to be a major impact if you go that way or that way. So you've got to really think the decision through. But the thing is with that card as well, it can be something that you've had experience with before. So when you make your decision, or you know, you're making your judgment on what to do about something, it's generally well thought through, because it's not a new experience for you. You've seen this in your life before, or you've seen something similar before, and you kind of seen, you know, what the outcome was last time. So you've got a good idea where to go with it. So that's what the Judgment card is. It's an important, well thought through decision for you to make. Now this card, the Tower. Now, to be honest, I found this Tower to be a positive card. So it's a card again, you know, what people aren't keen on, and the picture on the card looks very dramatic, and on virtually every pack of tarot cards I've looked at, it's quite a dramatic picture for the Tower. So you can see all kinds going on. There's people falling, there's lightning going on over here, there's fire. And generally on the cards as well, you see the tower pictures where the tower's collapsing down. Now what this card is, it's a shock and it's an upset, but it was something that was needed. So say, for example, someone's in a really toxic marriage, you know, it's needed to break this up. So the Tower talks about a situation in your life comes crashing down, and what you've then got to do is you've got to rebuild your life up. Now, it's not an easy card. Emotionally, this isn't an easy card, and emotionally, usually things are more difficult, aren't they, when we've got to take them emotionally. But you do get through with this card day by day and bit by bit. And this upset, or this situation in your life, what's been literally brought down to the absolute foundations, out of this, you're gonna end up, you know, within probably a year of this card, your life is gonna be completely different. Your mind will be in a completely different place, stronger, positive, and you realise in time to come that it was actually the best thing that could have happened. But it's not easy, it's a difficult time, but you will get through it. Okay, this card, the Justice card. Right, now when you think of justice, now justice can be achieved in lots of different ways. Like if someone says, oh, I'm sorry, you know, you've got justice on something, haven't you? Or you think, you know, I should really apologise for that. So you bring in balance and justice to the situation. Now that would be probably one of the lesser meanings of that card, maybe an apology or just getting things back into balance. So it could be that, you know, things are not organised, you know, you're not in a routine, or, well, this card would talk about getting things, you know, getting things in balance where you can cope. Like I say, it could be an apology as well, or you giving someone an apology. So it could be getting things back into balance. You know, with maybe a friendship, or, you know, a family member where there's been an argument or something on that lines. But taking this card to the heavier meaning of it. So it can actually predict, you know, legal matters and court cases. Now, there's a few things with that card as well. If you see that card come out side by side with the King of Swords, it's always something to do with the police. So it could be you stopped in the car or something like that, but there's definitely legal matters going on if you see certain cards come around with it. And like I say, the King of Swords is definitely one of the clues that we're looking at something legal there. And then you would look at the cards around it as to whether this would be a positive outcome, or a negative outcome for you, really. Okay, this one, the Moon. Now, if you imagine kind of like trying to get the feel of what this card is, the message of it. If you go out in the street, say you go outside in the day and you can see everything. Now, if you go out into the same place in the night, it looks completely different. And this is because, the shadows, and we've got the moonlight, which is only partially lighting up things. So we can't see everything like we can do in the day. We don't know what's lurking behind, But if we're out in the street, there could be someone lurking behind that wall or behind that bush or behind that car. So we don't know what hidden dangers are around as well, because we can't see them. And this is what the Moon is. Now, there's always deception comes with that card. Um, Always, so do watch out when you get that one, because I think that the Moon is a warning card. It does try to warn you that there's hidden dangers on this route, whatever it is, your work and life, your friendship, etc. There's some kind of deception in store for you, someone, or there's a deceptive situation lying in the background. So you could be walking into some scam without even realising it. But whatever's going on there, there is a warning with that card to be careful. So as well, the Moon, emotions. So it is an emotional card as well. So, this situation could leave you feeling really upset or even really angry. So hidden warnings with that one, the Moon. Okay, then we've got the Emperor. So again, it depends what cards are around the Emperor as to how I'd read it. But the Emperor is a very masculine card, but it's someone who is very fair. So you think about maybe when you were at school, the teachers you had, some of them were horrible, but some of them, were very fair. They might have been firm, but fair. So this is a masculine card, but it is talking about someone who is fair at the same time and just. Now the Emperor, if this is coming up, say it was kind of predicting a relationship ahead for you. And then the Emperor, so it could be maybe a king if there's a man there. But in the same, close by in the same few cards, it's also showing the Emperor. It would say to me that this is a man who sort of grows in your life. It kind of it goes more permanent, it's becoming more stronger, or later on down the line, this person will become more important. And it is someone who you can lean on as well, someone, who won't let you down, really, who is, like I say, he's fair and wise, and he can take the lead in things as well. Now, often as well, with this Emperor, it can be talking about yourself, so a man or a woman. And what it's talking about is that your status is going up in something, and you're getting the respect and the admiration of people, of other people, however you're handling something. So it could be, say, in the workplace, it could be that you get a promotion, and your status is going up. Um, and you would be able to handle it well, coming out with the Emperor as well. So again, a good card to see, but you've got to see what other cards lie around it within the spread as to what way that you're going to read it. Okay, the Star card. Now the Star card, we think really is a wish card in tarot. But if you think when you were a kid and you'd stand there and you'd wish on a star, it was because you didn't have that, like the thing what you wanted, what you were wishing for, you haven't got it at the moment. So I would say that this card is there's something that you haven't got that you want, and there's a really good chance of getting it in the future. So again, it would depend what cards align around the star, but you would really, even if they were negative cards, it would kind of pull you towards thinking, okay, it might be tricky at the moment, but you're gonna get there. You're gonna get that what you want. So it does give you this really good omen for the future. That card, so a nice card to come up. Right then, strength card, and you can see the line on the card, like, the strength of the line, the strong willpower. Or when we see this card, again, it depends what it comes up with, but it's talking about being strong, feeling empowered, and having willpower. So it'd be a good card to come out, if you're trying to diet or something, or even maybe pass exams, or because this card gives you this willpower. So another way that you can read this card now, if it's a reading around health, or you put some on spread out and you start getting drawn towards, you can see hospitals or doctors or something here. If this card comes out, it's a good omen, because you'll get through it, you'll get over it. Even if someone's got someone seriously ill and that card comes out, it's a really good omen. They've got the strength to get through it, to get over it, depending on what are the cards. But whatever, they're acting strong. It's giving them that strength to sort of cope. Another way that you can see that as well, if you see the strength card coming out in a relationship spread, you start to think about the strong feelings there. So either one or the other could have stronger feelings than the other person. If it's a very happy romantic spread, then nice, it can be, it's the feeling strong in this. The energy's going to go stronger and stronger. But I have seen this with the feelings just, on one person, and the other one isn't as interested. So sometimes you can get it like that as well. This one here, the Wheel of Fortune, um, I've only ever really seen that card come out in one way. It always shows that the table is going to turn. It's going to go the other way. So there's a situation going on in your life. And then, you know, kind of if you look back at that situation a while ago, it was completely different. Or what's coming is it's going to change everything. So it's that kind of like that saying where it says, oh, there was a watershed, it changed the vibes of everything. It could be maybe that it's a relationship where one person's got all the power, one person's in control. Something happens where it changes it all around, and now the other person's calling the shots. That isn't really the way we want a relationship to be, what we're in, but it's this kind of thing. If you're looking at a situation in the workplace, something will come along and completely change the energy, and it will sort of like maybe take the control away, or it can bring the control to someone. But it's not really a balance in the control, that Wheel of Fortune. Okay, this card then, the Lover. Now, the Lover is a relationship card, or a romancy card. I do sometimes think, or tend to think, not always though, but I'll tell you that in a second. If we're looking at relationships, and this card comes out, there's always, like, there's quite a few different cards what talk about relationships, romance. So, excuse me, you would be looking for the backup of them other minor cards, other minor romance cards. Now, the lover does talk, like, each one of them has got their own individual message. So they might be all looking at romance or relationships, but there's a different energy coming with each one. And this card, the lovers, tells you that there's a fork in the road. So you've got to, it's like you've got to sort of a crossroads in this relationship, and it's picking a route to go down with it. So it's 50-50. I can go that way or I can go that way. So it might be one of them, you know, where you're thinking, should I take it up to the next level of commitment? Maybe it's been light-hearted before. And with the lovers being, you know, a major card, there would be a major lasting effect, what would come with your decision as well. Now, whereas say not always a romance card, sometimes people can just get to a stage in the life, you know, where they've got decisions and they're at a crossroads, and what route do we take? Do we go straight ahead or do we veer to the left or the right? So this is kind of the you know, the message with this card. Be very be very careful which road you decide to go down when the opportunity comes, and because it will have a lasting effect and impact, because it is a major card. Okay then, so this card, the Devil, um, I think the Devil is a tricky card to read when you first come across it. So when you're a new tarot reader, you know, when it catches your eye and you're learning them, when you put the cards out for lots of different people, your friends, your family, you're reading anyone's, you hit with that card, and then you know, I used to be hit with that card, and it was a card that I found hard to interpret. And then, like, weeks would go by and you'd see something happening in someone's life and you'd think, that's what that card was trying to get at. So what I've kind of seen with this card, if it's coming with a romance, um, it always becomes like where there's lots of chemistry there. So, you know, the sexual attraction, and it does show a relationship that's getting physical, so it's getting more involved. Now, taking that card away from that side of life, um, and it comes up, you know, you can't see anything about romance going on. Then what goes on with this card? It's talking about bad habits, habits that are really hard to break and get out of. So it's almost as though you've got literally no control, and see all the chains. It's like bondage, being absolutely tied down. So you imagine someone who has got, like, maybe an alcohol problem or a drug problem. They find it's a habit very, very difficult to break. But that would be at the most extreme, you know, but it could be like cigarettes. It's a habit what's hard to get out of. So it might be thinking about changing something, but you feel as though you've got no chance of doing it. So it is not an easy card. And the Devil is one of the cards that, if you see it come around certain other cards, you know, it can go as far as the disappearance of someone else in your life as well. So it's not an easy card, the Devil, and there's always a price to pay for it, really. Then this one, the High Priestess. Now, this one is straight away when you see this one. She is the woman of wisdom. She's the top of the game, the High Priestess. So what you kind of imagine with this one is that, you know, when you say the top of a game, now if you're looking at a general situation in someone's life, excuse me, this woman has got all the control and the power. but she could be keeping things to herself. She could be very secretive about things. So if that card is yourself, you're not going to reveal, and man or woman, if that card is yourself, you know exactly what you're doing. You can weigh things up to an absolute T, and you're going to keep it to yourself. You're not going to give other people, you know, your ideas. Another way that you can see this card as well is that the secrets lying around a situation that is yet to be revealed. So it can be, depending on what other cards, you know, you're absolutely shocked and stunned when all this comes about. Another thing with that card as well, because the High Priestess, the wisdom, and like I said before, she's on top of the game, it can also show up when people are thinking about studying as well, courses of study, or it can be when someone is highly skilled, you know, they've already gone through all the studying earlier on in the life or in the past, and they're very skilled in something. Um, Now, if that one comes up next to a Queen of Swords, so one of the more minor cards, then what you can guarantee is there's going to be someone who you're in opposition to then, or someone causes you a problem, and you're very unlikely to win with them, because the person who you're in opposition to is the top of the game. You've got no chance.